So if I took all the knowledge over my little over 8-year career and had to start all over and do it again, well, stick around if you know how I'd do it. How you doing? And if you're new to the channel, then consider subscribing. On this channel, I do a lot of teaching. It's good for new truck drivers, as well as new owner-operators, and maybe even the occasional tip for a seasoned owner-operator. But after this video is done, I need to go and double check make sure all my oversized signs and flags and everything's all good to go, because I'm picking up a pretty nice load tomorrow that I am vlogging for the new channel. So excited about that. That should be coming out sometime at the beginning of August. So you guys stay tuned for that. Just hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, so that way you know when the videos are coming out on this channel, as well as when the vlogging channel and possibly even a third channel open up. But not to get too far off topic, to get back on topic, if I had to start all over, how would I go about it? What would I do? And the first place that I would start, of course, is kind of a starter company. You know, maybe not necessarily one of the mega carriers, but it's going to be kind of something like that, like a TMC. Now, me personally, I like the open deck style of things. I enjoy getting out there, enjoy doing the work. So I would try to start at TMC. And the reason being is because they have a very good training program. By the way, this is not sponsored. So, you know, this is what I think. They have a really good training program. They teach you very well. They've got some good solid accounts, so that way you're always going to be continually moving. And as a company driver, that's one of the things that's really important. The other thing that's going to be really important is, do they have a lot of contracts around where you live, near where you live? I would say within like 100 to 200 mile radius. And TMC they do have that. They've got some accounts down there in Houston. I've also seen a lot of Melton trucks down there, so I might consider going with them. So as long as experience allows me to get onto those places, that's where I would start. And let's even take it back just one step further really quickly. If I had the money to be able to get my CDL on my own, to go to a CDL school and actually obtain my CDL, I would do that. I would not lock myself into a 1 year or however long they lock you in for getting your CDL through a company. Now, if you didn't have that option, if money is tight for you, and it's just one of those things that you can't necessarily afford to go to CDL school, then hey, just look at what company around you offers that CDL training. Look at what's the best option for you. And there are some of these other companies, I don't know what other companies necessarily do it, but some of them will buy out your CDL school, the payment to your CDL school where you obtain that. So keep that in mind. But anyway, I would get back over there, and the second thing that I would do is I would find myself a mentor. I would find myself someone that's been at one of these companies for quite a while and is hauling the loads that I'm interested in hauling. And be that, if you are not interested in doing anything that's big and ugly, then, find maybe somebody that's just been doing it a long time, is really consistent. Maybe they have good home time if you have a young family. Look for the qualities that pertain to you, or that that really kind of excite you about what you want out of this career, because this career really is what you make of it. So find somebody that kind of has what you're looking for, and then just ask them some questions. Ask them if you can get their phone number, so that way you can call them up whenever you have these questions of what you should do maybe, or what route you should go. You definitely want some mentors about securement. Now, I have a lot of securement videos on this channel that possibly might be changing soon, so stay tuned for that. So anyway, find yourself a mentor, and find yourself a securement securement guy that will help you out. If you ever have a question out here, or maybe you can shoot him a picture like, man, what would you do with this? Or, you see some of the other trucks out here, you can always ask them too, but don't ever be afraid to ask for help out here. This is one thing that I love about the open deck community, is that they're for the most part, most everybody out here is here to help. So definitely love that about the open deck community, and that's why I wouldn't hesitate to roll back through. So after I found my mentor, then I would follow his advice, because what good is a mentor if he's not giving you advice and you actually adhere to that advice and see how it works out for you. If he's made some good choices along the way, he or she, and then they've made some bad choices along the way, and they can kind of guide you in the direction that's not going to really hurt you as bad as if you were to make one of those bad decisions on your own. And then I would save up as much as possible for a down payment, or actually strike that, not necessarily a down payment, enough to buy a cash truck. I would buy cash, and I would leave myself about $15,000 cash in the bank, as well as making sure that I don't run out and I don't run up a bunch of credit. I don't buy a bunch of things, a car, a house, jet skis, whatever it is that you're out there racking up debt with. I would try to keep my expenses as absolutely low as possible and save up. And when I say a cash truck, I mean about a $15,000 to $20,000 truck. I would buy an older truck, probably somewhere between 2000 and 2003 or maybe even 4 model, that probably has a cat engine, but if not a cat engine, I mean one of the 60 series or the N14. All of those are really great mechanical, well, they're somewhat mechanical, they're mostly mechanical engines, and they just last much, much longer. They're pre-EGR and DPF and DEF and all that stuff, so they last much, much longer. And the good thing about buying one of those older engines, as well as older trucks, is that there's going to be things that are going to go wrong with it. The good thing is it's easy to find shops that can work on those. Is it easy to necessarily find the parts? Well, maybe not so much, but the parts are generally, not always, going to cost you a lot less than some of these newer engines that are in these trucks today. And then also I would try to learn and how to do a lot of these things myself. And that way you bring down the cost of owning the truck so much. I know I talk about whenever I put the truck in the shop, but there's a lot of things that I've changed on this truck that y'all don't see. I mean, I was literally up all night one night in Phoenix, Arizona, in the middle of the summer. This was last summer, whenever I had that big fuel leak. Yeah, I fixed that myself. So, yeah, it was a hard lesson learned, but it's one of those things where I did it myself and I saved myself a lot of money, and I was actually able to get back on the road much sooner. So learning how to mechanic your truck is very, very important. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do everything. And I put my truck into the shop a lot of times for some simple things, but a lot of times I do the work myself, and that has saved me a lot of money. So, buying that cash truck and learning how to, actually maintain and fix that truck would be super beneficial to you. The next step that I would do is, well, I guess, where would I run that truck? And that kind of depends. I don't know what TMC or Melton has to offer, but I would look at a lot of these companies. There are some smaller companies out there that will allow you to kind of progress through the ranks faster. And what I mean by that is kind of work your way up through heavy haul a lot sooner, and you can cut down that learning time, dramatically, and without having to actually own that type of trailer. Like an RGN trailer is pretty expensive, and there's not exactly a whole lot of those out there, so they maintain their value, they hold their value really well. So trying to work my way up, and then what I would do is I would buy an inexpensive trailer for my first one.
And what comes along with that is obviously a higher percentage of keeping keeping what you earn, and that's of course is always important. That's the goal out here, is to the goal or the game out here is to keep as much as possible rather than necessarily make as much as possible. If that makes sense, maybe I'll elaborate on that in a future video. But I would buy an inexpensive trailer, that way, and cash, once again, that way I don't have any kind of bills. And then at that point, then I would look and I would see what would make the most sense for me to buy, be it, just rebuilding that truck. I mean, you could put $50,000, $60,000 into an old truck, turn it into a brand spanking new truck, and have a really nice ride on the road, and something that is going to last you 2 million miles, another 2 million miles easily. I could do that, or I could go kind of brand new, buy like this, this show truck style. I don't know. But from that, at that point, it's really up in the air. Whenever you own your own equipment, well, whenever something like a pandemic happens, well, you can afford to just park your truck if you want. Now, I didn't do that. There's a lot of guys that stayed out here and kept running. And the thing is, your cost of operation is so much lower whenever you own your stuff outright. You're not forced to make that payment on that truck or that trailer. Then you can afford to sit maybe an extra day for a better load that comes along, and in turn keep more money that while they're rolling down the road. So there's a lot of benefit that comes to owning your equipment outright, and that's absolutely what I would shoot for, what I would aim for, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I work a lot. I run a lot of miles. In my first year, I ran 117,000 miles. So I definitely want to get away from that. And if I went back and when I had the knowledge that I have right now, I certainly would not be doing that. Those heavy haul guys, they run 40 to 70,000 miles a year, and they're making about twice as much as what I am. So that would be definitely the much smarter thing to do. But that's going to be the whole premise of the new vlog channel. Actually, is going to be my journey to heavy haul. So I'll give you a little bit of hint on that. That's what that's going to be the focus of. It's going to be kind of my journey. So there's not going to be any more vlogs on this channel. This channel is going to be strictly teaching. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Check out this video right here. I talk about, this is a little bit older video, but I talk about some of the specs that not everybody's talking about out here, and it gives you just a little bit of insight as to what kind of truck that you might be looking for. So check that one out, but don't forget, as always, stay driven.